but we have been getting quarterly business updates that are coming in from various companies ahead of earnings season. Today we're looking at two small finance banks. While Ujjivan has seen strong business momentum with declining stress, Equitas has held absolutely steady. To discuss how business is shaping up, the products as well that are driving growth, well, we are joined by Mr. Itala Davis, the MD and CEO of Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, and Mr. N Vasudevan, the MD and CEO at Equitas. Well, good morning, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, let's talk about Ujjivan's business first. There's been a good bounce back. So, sir, how do you see business shaping up? And if you could tell us, where are you seeing maximum traction coming from? Go ahead. All right, Mr. Davis, I request you to unmute yourself. We would like to hear.
Sorry. Good morning, Nigel. It's good to be back with CNBC. I think we have seen very good traction in this quarter, and when you compare it with the same quarter the previous year, which was the end of the COVID, it's looking very good. And also on an absolute basis, the growth has been very good for Ujjivan. We have seen the maximum growth in this financial year, the first two quarters. It's coming from the microfinance business because that was the business which we had seen moving faster, and it's a business which has been able to grow quicker for us, but the other businesses are catching up. So that generally is the trend that we have seen, and we expect that trend to continue for the remaining 2 quarters of this year.
Okay. Mr. N Vasudevan, who's the MD and CEO at Equitas Small Finance Bank, is also with us. Mr. Vasudevan, your views on what the growth could look like? The loan growth has bounced back. For you, it's been stable. For Ujjivan, it's seen a good growth. But overall, what are the trends pointing out to, and what could be an average growth that you're looking at for the next 1 to 2 years?
Good morning. Pre-COVID, our growth rate in advances used to be around the 30% mark. And now that we are more or less out of the COVID scenario, we expect to get back to that similar 30% kind of a growth rate as we go forward over the next few years. This year, we have had a 20% growth in the first half, but we do still expect that by end of the year, because the second half generally is a much more robust period for loans. And so we expect a stronger growth in the second half. And so we estimate that even for the current year, we might end up around the 30% level by end of the year.
30% by the end of the year. Right. Sorry, Mr. Davis, is the microfinance business the one which is... Sorry, I missed that if you kind of did answer that. But is the microfinance business doing extremely well? And is that an industry-wide phenomenon that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think I would say it is industry-wide because the microfinance business went through a lot more stress than the other areas. So the coming back is a sign that that business and that segment is able to recover. So I think, we, for example, in Ujjivan, we started the recovery in September, October last year. So this is the conclusion of 1 year of that turnaround. And we have seen during this 1 year that the microfinance business, for us also, it is a business that we know very well. So perhaps that is also one reason why we have been able to move faster on that front. But definitely it has picked up much faster than the other businesses because the other businesses were less affected. Because if you look at the year-on-year growth, it is about 44%. But, the other businesses were slightly less because of the way in which the segment has grown. So yes, to answer your question, I think for us and for the industry, there's been a good turnaround in microfinance.
And there's lots of expectations from other MFI players as well that things are going to be bandhan, etc. I mean, there's expectations running high. Mr. Davis, just one briefly, if you can tell us, how does this square, the very strong showing in the microfinance business square with the general commentary or anecdotally, when we speak with many companies, they say that the rural is still perhaps hurting, lower end of the economy is still not picking up, not doing well. And you got the MFI business, both individual and group, which has done very well for you. And you're saying it's an industry-wide phenomenon. Briefly, if you have any comments to offer.
I know we have 110 branches which are located in rural areas, and even some of our branches which are in semi-urban areas cover the rural segment. So we are not seeing, even in that segment, we are seeing very good traction. We are not seeing any stress, build up or anything of that nature. So I think, perhaps it's lagging the rest of the microfinance, but I think, there also we are going to be seeing a good growth going ahead. So I think that is beginning to happen and it should continue.
All right, Mr. Davis, could you put a number to it? What kind of a growth number are you looking at for this year? And also, input costs are going up. That's deposit rates would be moving up as well, cost of funds basically. How does that square in terms of your NIMs? I think in the last quarter you were in that 9.5% odd. What's the outlook from here on?
Yeah, in terms of overall growth, we continue to maintain our number of 25 to 30% for the full year. So that shouldn't be difficult to achieve. As far as NIMs is concerned, we are managing the NIMs around the 9.5, 9.6%. And we expect that, given that we are having good recoveries from the NPAs and, all the other front, that will help us in managing the NIMs as well for this year. And that is very fortunate because in a year when interest rates are rising, we are able to manage that. And I think that will get us over the hump, so to speak.
Okay. Is there any merger on the cards, Mr. Davis? Any merger with another lender is an option that perhaps you're looking at?
Not just as yet, because we are going through the reverse merger process. Once the reverse merger is completed, that is a possibility that we would talk about.
Okay, so what is the timeline? When will the reverse merger be completed? And if you're looking at a possibility of a merger with another lender, anything in the next 12 months itself?
The reverse merger will itself take about 12 months. So I think only after that we will get into a review of that possibility.
So that is on the annual once this gets over.
Once the reverse merger is complete.
All right, so 24 months then, not 12.
Yeah, 12 months to start the process and to complete it maybe a little longer.
Anything else you can tell us, sir, Mr. Davis, at this point?
No, I think, one of the most interesting things for the industry is today is this month is 7 years since the RBI gave out the 10 differentiated banking licenses for SFBs. And I think, CNBC could carry a story of how SFBs have contributed towards financial inclusion and financial, literacy in the country. And I think that will be a good story, just by way of
congratulations to all of you. Absolutely. But anything on this merger that anything else you can at this stage? I mean, what's the thought process broadly? Can you share with us?
No, it's still very early, and we are trying to grow our secured book. So anything in that direction would be looking at something in the secured space.
But I mean, I'm sure you'd not want to give us any names at this point in time. But what would sort of the size be of the entity that you're looking to merge with? Are the talks on currently? Any more details that you can share?
No, it's still very early. We are on the drawing board still.
Okay. In terms of Mr. Vasudevan, in terms of your cost of funds, how's that turning out? What was it this quarter? Has it moved up? And could you give us some sense? Interest rates are moving up, as Mr. Davis also pointed out.
Yeah. So interest rates, we have increased our deposit rates during the quarter, but our savings interest rate has remained the same during the quarter. So there is a small uptick of 5 basis points in the second quarter from 6.2. The cost of funds has moved to 6.25 in the end of second quarter. Going forward, there might be again a marginal increase in deposit rates because recently RBI has again raised the rates in end of September. But overall, we still believe that our cost of funds may not go dramatically high because we do have nearly a 48 to 50% CASA ratio, and there the interest rates are not really being tinkered with. So we are hoping that we will get away with a not so high a cost impact on our interest rates.
Mr. Vasudevan, since your resignation, has a new candidate for the MD and CEO role been identified? You resigned way back in May. So any kind of timeline on when a new MD and CEO will be put in place?
So we have already mentioned that we expect the process of succession to get completed in about a year's time. So I think more or less we are on track, and a lot of activities are happening. Obviously, there is nothing to disclose at this point in time, But yes, I think by May, June of next year, we should see the process getting to a completion, hopefully.
By May or June of next year. All right. Mr. Davis, we'll wait by for more details on this merger, but it's a big news. I mean, especially from both a bank and a shareholder perspective. You just want to tell us if merger talks are on with an NBFC or a bank?
No. We have not started any talks, so don't,
Okay.
in that direction. As I said, it's still very early stages. We need to grow our secured book, and this is one of the options that is available to us. So it is still on the drawing board, and I think that is something that it should be clear to everybody that we have not started any discussion with anybody or not zeroed in on any options on this front.
All right, thank you very
Very early stages.
Got it. Thank you very much, Mr. Davis, Mr. Vasudevan. Appreciate you joining in, both of you, and congratulations on that anniversary as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, let's just look at the market, which has taken a very sharp dip. I mean,